Hi, friends. This is Wendy Harrop, and welcome to the Say Yes to Yourself podcast. On the Say Yes to Yourself podcast, you'll hear stories from women just like us who are adding the practice of saying yes in their daily lives in big and small ways, and as a result, are experiencing the truth that everybody wins when you say yes to yourself. Saying yes to yourself is a graceful unfolding, an intentional becoming of the very best version of you. It is my hope that in these conversations, we are able to find our truth and be inspired and empowered to live our very best lives. I'm so excited to go on this journey with you, and I look forward to finding a bit of our own story in each other's. Hello, my sweet friend. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so happy you're here, and I am so happy. I've been, for the last several days, deep into the details of the France trips that I'll be leading this year, and it's so fun. And a little shout out to myself, I've even managed the tech side of that. So I'm feeling very excited and very empowered and really thrilled to invite you to take a look at all of these fabulous offerings for 2024 and see which one resonates with you the most. Or come on all three if you'd like. I mean, I'm going on all three, so it has been done. And I would love to have you. So the links are in the show notes, so you can get all of those details. But I'm also so excited to share with you today's conversation with my friend Joanie Wheeler, because she is a fabulous, avid traveler and just such a delightful human. And we've been following each other for a year or so on Instagram, and we have never spoken, just the two of us, with the exception of my fun Gougere workshop that she inspired. But we had such a fun conversation, and we were chatting before I hit record and then chatting over an hour after I stopped recording for today's episode. So I just know you are going to love and adore her as much as I do. And let me tell you a little bit about her, because she's fabulous. Joanie Wheeler, the creative mind behind the Kiyo edit, is not your typical elementary school librarian. While she spends her weekdays fostering a love for literature among young minds, her weekends and vacations tell a different story. One of a woman who embarks on solo travel adventures that extend far beyond the pages of any book. Joanie's solo travel journey was more than discovering new destinations. It became a profound inner awakening. She realized its transformative power for personal growth, especially for women. She believes solo travel is a vital catalyst for women, unlocking inner strength and courage, fostering self-discovery and self-confidence. Joanie advocates embracing solo adventure, not just for exploring the world, but also for exploring one's capabilities. Through her experiences, she witnessed timid self-talk evolving into a positive, empowering dialogue. Solo travel, according to Joanie, is about confronting fears, navigating uncertainties, and becoming a more self-assured self. Through the Kiyo edit, she shares insights and stories, inspiring women to step out of comfort zones and relish the freedom that comes with navigating the world independently. Joanie's journey is a celebration of that transformative power of solo travel, showcasing how women can rewrite their narratives and emerge as the architects of their destinies. I mean, can you even? Don't you want to talk to her for multiple hours on a beautiful snowy day? Oh my goodness. Ladies, friends, fabulous listeners, you are going to love this conversation with my friend Joanie Wheeler. Sweet Joanie, I am so excited to have this conversation. I am so excited to get to know you better, even though I feel like in so many ways we're the same person. And of course, I'm really excited to introduce my listeners to you because you're amazing and they all need to follow your fabulous adventures. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I am really, really excited to be here. It's my first ever podcast to be on, so I'm pretty psyched, honestly. And yes, I agree. I feel like we're the same person. I listen to your podcast. I look at your Instagram, and I feel so many connections that we have, and it's pretty amazing. And I love the universe and how it works and how we it kind of guides us to people that we need to know and that should be in our lives. And so I feel like uh that has happened with us. Like we were meant to meet and know one another. I love that.
I do too, and I could not agree more. Of course, since we're the same person, of course we think the same. But I love that when those connections happen, and honestly, I'm assuming this you experience this as well. It happens to me all the time. And these types of conversations, because I said maybe a year and a half ago that these are the only conversations I'm available for, I promise I have conversations like the one we're about to have every single day. And I live on a farm by myself. So the fact that God is taking care of me, the universe is drawing everything that I desire to me in such an abundant measure in the
Hmm.
form of community and like-mindedness and beautiful humans having a beautiful experience in the same place that I'm having mine is just so it's beautiful, and it also is such a gentle, lovely reminder to me that I don't need to worry about the things that I need that have not come into my experience yet.
Yes, yes, I 100% agree. And I I should preface with I probably wouldn't have said I 100% agree with you maybe a year or two ago. But I do think that like begets like. And so if you're open to it and you're willing to accept that, then yes, I think that all of the wonderful vibes and the abundance and the people that are like you are going to be in your lives, and they will find their way, or you will find your way to them. And I think it's such a wonderful thing. Uh, and that's something new to me, definitely. Kind of in that whole, uh, maybe I don't well, this was a long time ago, but maybe I don't really deserve it, or maybe, that's not really who I am. But deep down, like that is really who I am. And
Right?
I need to let it out, and I need to let it shine, and I need those same kinds of positive uh entities around me just so that I can experience positivity and love and just acceptance and abundance in my life.
Oh, I love that. And I can't wait to hear more about what the turning point was for you. But I just wanted to mention, you saying sometimes we think, oh, I don't deserve that level of whatever, or I'm
Mhm.
not worthy of that. And I think that most certainly I have felt that as well. I also, growing up in church, there was some information, messaging, conditioning that I gathered as a young child from
Yeah.
all well-meaning sources, and
Mhm.
that if God wanted me to have that, that he would just bring it, give it to me. That there wasn't an active role for me. And so I think the two pieces of what my experience was and yours and what you were saying being available, that there's this opportunity that we have that we can go into each day with this attitude of receptivity, like I'm just going to receive what is meant for me today. And when for an overgiver, that is quite a practice that takes a lot of
That
attention and focus and coaching. I
yes.
remember I was going to a retreat in New York, and it was back in 2021. And my coach at the time said, okay, your job this weekend is to receive. And I was like, no, have you met me?
What is
No,
that?
I already started baking for these 49 other women that I don't know. But when I show up, I want to be the cookie lady, and I'm going to give this and I'm going to give this. And I'm so excited to meet my mentor in person. I mean, I was so spinning in the
Hmm.
thing that I like to do that I also thought was my role. Like, this is how I'm supposed to do it. And she really challenged me to go empty handed and with this posture of receptivity, which our listeners can't see, but I have my hands out like I'm ready to receive something. That I don't show up empty handed. So that was really not easy to
Hmm.
do, but what it made me focus on was being really aware of what was happening around me so that I could be available to
Yes.
receive whatever was
Yes.
coming, and then take inspired action in the direction of whatever I just made myself available for. And I had the most unbelievably spiritually aligned, mind blowing experience and conversation with this New York Times bestselling author who just happened to be in line in front of me at the deli. And then he offered to buy me coffee and asked if I had time to sit and enjoy the coffee with him. And I did. And we had this conversation that was so unbelievable. And I still connected to him. I mean, it was just crazy. Like, how that would have
I
never
love that.
happened if I was in my room packaging all my cute cookies and putting them in the little bags and handing them out. I would have
Yes.
missed this thing that was so for me and has
Hmm.
continued to feed my soul as I recall that conversation, and as I continue in, connection via Instagram, which we know is a very true connection. Um,
Yes.
and so it's just amazing what happens when I get out of my own way.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of our I don't want to call it a disability, but the things that hold us back.
Yes.
You mentioned, well-meaning people in our lives definitely try to love us in their way, and I think that definitely puts in our mind like, oh well, this is how we're supposed to be, and this is what how this is just how we're supposed to behave and receive and give. And I think a lot of that is done out of fear. It's their fear that then what they're projecting on us, and so it is love, but it's well-meaning, but it's based off of their fear, and it's not necessarily mine. But obviously, I grew up that way. A lot of people grow up that way. Um, so it does take some time to and work to open up and be able to just accept, instead of constantly being a giver, a giver, a giver, a giver. Like, you deplete yourself so much, and I am definitely guilty of that. It is a lot of work to just receive, and then once you had that epiphany, that moment of like, oh, okay, I can receive, and it's okay, and nobody's gonna hate me, or nobody's gonna die if I accept something nice for myself. I think it's a great gift for yourself to finally understand that yes, you can also, or me, can also receive something nice in the world.
Right. I think it's so ironic as compulsive overgivers that
Yeah.
we kind of shudder at the idea of doing what we require everyone else in our environment to do as they receive everything that we're giving. And
Yeah.
realizing that it truly is a double blessing when we are available to receive, it's a gift to the giver. And as we
Yeah.
know, like as people that gave, if somebody said, no, I don't want your cookies, I I'm sorry. Well, are you gluten free? Because I have one of those too. Oh, do you have a nut allergy? I happen to have those too. And do you also need a band-aid and some chapstick? And like, I'm ready for whatever it is you need. And that not being available to receive is, it doesn't feel good to the giver. So remembering that we are blessing that other person, giving them a favorable experience as much as we are having one in the receiving of whatever the gift is.
Yeah. I agree. 100%.
So was there something that, I mean, not like some major thing that occurred, but was there something that kind of helped you turn a corner and start to change the way that you approached each day? For me, it was an online business class that I signed up for in January 2020. And it was 12 weeks long, and it changed my life and changed my community and changed my trajectory at a time that the whole world was changing. And I am completely unrecognizable, even to myself, from that time. So was there
Yes.
something for you that was kind of the pivotal moment?
Yes. So I feel like 2020 was just a pivotal year. I mean, not only because of the pandemic, but because of the fact that well, yes, because of the pandemic, but just the emotional trauma that it brought to everyone. And for some people they did well, some people they didn't do well. Um, but that was my reflection year because honestly, we had nothing else to do. I work in the public education system, and so we didn't have, my kids were at home. I did not have to go into work. I'm an elementary school librarian.
Great job.
I love my job. It's really great. Sorry, I have a lot of allergies.
No, that's okay. It's interesting
um,
too, because I've been really mindful now of, I've recently been introduced to this whole chakra situation, and
uh-huh.
there's a throat chakra. And
Yeah.
whenever I'm clearing my throat, I think, ooh, I think something good's about to come. Like I'm going to really pay attention to whatever I'm going to say right now because I think it's good in there. So yeah, I even had to tell my podcast editor, please don't edit that out because I think it means something good is coming. And I want people to know why I'm all of a sudden so excited about what I don't know I'm going to say yet.
That's hysterical. I love
But you
it.
can also have allergies.
Yes, I do
Yes.
actually have lots of allergies,
Mm,
environmental allergies.
mm,
Um, but anyway, I think that was a pivotal year for all of us. And so because I work in the public education system, I was home, um, and I'm an elementary school librarian, so I did not have to go to work. And my job is not the same as a teacher, so I wasn't required to be on camera, 7 hours a day. So I essentially just had that time off. And so it was a lot of reflection. And that was the year I turned 50. So again, I think that was also
big one.
yep, that's also kind of a big birthday. And that's the big birthday that I feel like a lot of women And so oddly, just as a side note, I am on a tangent now. A
Okay.
lot of my friends who are my age, they turned 50, and just recently they are going through this whole, I want to say, like, awakening. Like
Yes.
they've
Yes.
decided, or not even decided, just they understand now that the way that their life was going is not the way that they really enjoy. And it's kind of like they got stuck in this trap of going down this one little narrow path, and that's not the path that they really should be taking. And so they're all now breaking free. And whether that be divorce, which is unfortunate for, though I've been through that.
Unless it
It's an
is fortunate.
Well, yes, or
I'm
unless it
going
is
through a very
fortunate.
fortunate divorce myself.
Oh, okay.
Super
So then, yeah,
fortunate.
yeah. Yeah, it just depends on how you look at it and how your partner is. But yeah, I feel like that year was my year that I was like, okay, I need to stop just existing.
Hmm.
I need to do something with my life. And I, as backstory, I was a stay-at-home mom for many years. I have three children, three boys, 18, 15, and 12. And so I stayed at home with them for almost all of their schooling, right? I just recently went to work. I've been the librarian at their elementary school, actually,
So great.
for 3 years, since 2020, going on 4 years now. Um, So I just recently went back to work, but it was around that time that I thought, okay, this is a big milestone birthday. And I don't know, it's like my whole life was like serving others, like you said, right? Like we're just we're I don't know, programmed that way. And I think culturally for me, I am Japanese, and so culturally it is very much, I'm the woman, I take care of the men in my family, I take care of the family. And I'm also English, and that's also a very well, my grandmother anyway, she was also very much like, oh, well, you have to take care of your husband and your family, and it should be, you should stay at home. And different generation, but culturally, I think that's probably within them too. um but I'm sorry, it's like, I'm all over the place.
I love it. I've got nothing but time, Queen. I'll be shoveling snow if I'm not having this conversation. So I would much rather do this.
So that really was the year that I said, okay, what is it that I want to do? Like, what is it that would make me really happy? Because I'm just existing. Not that I was miserable or, depressed and couldn't function. It was just a mental shift that I thought, okay, I need to really step it up because I'm 50, and really, like, God willing, I have 50 more years or more on this planet, right?
Yeah, same.
So I was like, okay, well, I want to travel. I want to go to Paris. That's what I want to do. That is something that I have always wanted to do. I've always wanted to live in Paris ever since I don't even know how long, like when I was little. Um, when I was in high school, that dream kind of got reaffirmed a bit when my best friend had an exchange student who was from Nice,
Oh,
and listening to the French and like the way that he was speaking, and just I thought, okay, yeah, that's what I want to do. So I was able, for my 50th birthday present to myself,
I love it. We get ourselves the
I
best things, don't we?
that's right. We know exactly what we want.
Yes, we do.
So at the time, my best friend and I, we decided, because she was also turning 50. So we decided, okay, let's go on vacation. Let's go for a couple weeks. And then I'm like, oh, well, if we're going to Europe, like, why don't we go for like a month? Can you go for like a month? And she said, yeah, let's go for a
Yay.
month. And then she said, oh, but I have a friend who's getting married in the at the beginning of August. And we were planning for beginning of or mid-June to leave.
Okay.
And she said, do you think we could just go? And I said, do you want to go for 8 weeks? And she said, yeah.
Yay. I love her. I have
we
chills.
ended, we ended up going for 8 weeks to Europe. And we didn't spend the whole 8 weeks together. 4 of those weeks I was by myself and traveling alone. And then the other 4 we were together, but they were kind of interspersed. So
Sure.
we were alone initially. I went by myself, and then we met up together, and then we would separate, and then we meet back up. And so
Oh,
that's how it went the whole
fun.
summer. So it wasn't like a continuous 4 weeks. I was alone and whatever. So I feel like that was a nice way to travel and see Europe. Because then traveling solo is amazing and wonderful, but it's also kind of lonely and at times a bit scary. But I mean, I loved it. And so that traveling solo, like that moment was when I went away and I had time to just be alone with my thoughts. And I feel like that is the moment where everything in my life shifted. Yes, it was kind of in my brain and kind of coming to fruition in 2020, but then it took till 2022 until we could really travel, like
Right.
without a ton of restrictions.
Right.
Um, it took until 2022 for me to actually do that travel and experience all those wonderful things. And I met the most lovely humans. I mean, really, I still keep in touch with them. Um, it was an eye-opening trip for me, and it was very cathartic. It was very much understanding me and what it is that I need to do in my life. And I don't mean regarding my job, my career,
Right.
just like within myself, mentally and just emotionally, what the things are that need to happen. And I don't know, it was a little difficult to realize that
Sure.
because so you don't want to always you don't always want to see things 100% clearly, right?
Right.
Some things are
Right.
good
Because
off in the fray.
it's true, because a change has to happen. You can't
Yeah.
unsee it.
Yes. Yes. And that is people that know me, they know I like change. I cannot sit still for long. Like I want things changed. I want things different and moving, and I'm going all the time. And that's, I mean, it's good and it's bad that I'm going all the time. I think lately I've learned to kind of chill out a bit
More about that.
and be more calm. But I enjoy change, and I always feel like I'm more in the I see things how they should be. And then I'm like, okay, this is what we need to do to get there.
Right.
And a lot of people don't think that way or feel that way. They're very comfortable in this space, right? In the here and now, and
And
change is not
sometimes,
nice.
right, sometimes that comfort comes from not thinking about it, and it comes
Yeah.
from not taking an inventory, a personal inventory, because the change would be really hard or drastic, or there's fear, you don't know what's on the other side of that. And
Hmm.
I've been really mindful recently, doing some things that I just didn't want to do. That there there was a lot of fear and resistance because of an uninvestigated belief that I had. Like I just
Oh,
decided,
interesting.
yeah, I just
Mm-hmm.
decided that it would be hard, and I decided that it was going to take all of this time. And so I didn't want to do it. And I was in
Yeah.
such resistance. And by the time I finally was tired of my own story, and I said, okay, I'm just going to chunk down this task. It had to do with finances. And I was just going to chunk down the task, and I'm going to set a timer for an hour. And I'm just going to keep doing it an hour at a time. And then I'm going to go for a walk or have a glass of champagne or something that feels like a good prize for this treacherous hour and hour after hour after hour that was ahead of me. I mean, I thought this was going to take like 3 weeks of intentional hour setting. I am not joking when I say it took me 17 minutes. Is that just ridiculous? 17, I really like, I mean, you would have thought I was signing up to go into, I don't know, some silent retreat. I don't know. Like, what would be so offensive to me is like not being able to talk or eat cookies.
Uh,
Um, 17 minutes. And I just thought, for goodness sakes, Wendy Harrop, what else? What other
what in the heck?
uninvestigated beliefs? What other uninvestigated beliefs are ruining your day? My word.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that was quite a discovery. And learning, I was reading recently, in, I don't know if it's in Ask and It Is Given, but something with Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks teachings, that a belief is just a thought you keep repeating. It doesn't even mean it's universally true. It doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
just a thought that you keep repeating. That's what a belief is. And so we can change how we believe about what we believe about something, but we have to change how we think about it. Otherwise,
Yes.
that will not follow.
Yes. That's the difficult part, but it's not impossible.
That's
It's
right.
hard, but it's not impossible.
Right. It's simple, but not easy.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes, exactly,
Um,
exactly. And
that's
that whole
amazing.
like limiting belief, yes, that is definitely, it's something that, everybody has to work really hard to let that go, let go of all of those limiting beliefs, let go of the things that you think, I mean, really, because like you said, it took you 17 minutes. There's so many things that are like that in my life where I am like, oh my goodness, I do not want to do XYZ. I do not want to do that because I know it's going to take me forever and it's going to be the most miserable experience of my life. And then I finally just say, okay, no, I just have to do it. I just have to
Right.
do it. And then I do it and I'm like, oh, okay. That,
Right.
well, that wasn't that bad.
I think that's so hilarious and totally my experience. And I think when we just take whatever that limiting belief is, anyone listening, just pick one. And
Hmm.
then going down that trail a little bit further than, oh, that's going to be hard. Okay, well, what's going to be hard about it? Okay. And then
Right.
for me, it was preparing my taxes. So I was like, well, that's going to be hard. Okay. Well, what's going to be hard about it? Well, I don't have all the paper. Okay. Well, the paper is somewhere in this house, so you can find it. Yes. Okay. And then what's the worst thing that can happen if I don't find it? Well, I'll won't be able to send my stuff to the tax accountant. Okay. And what's the worst thing that can happen if I don't send it to the tax accountant? Well, I won't file my taxes. Okay. And what's the worst thing that can happen if you don't file? Well, they'll totally
Yes.
arrest me. They'll arrest me and take my house away and I'll lose everything. Okay. Well, I don't think that's actually going to happen. So, even if once you go down that trail and
Yes.
you're, okay, this is just getting even ridiculous for me. So
Yes.
I think I
Yeah.
can take some time and find the paper. and then probably
Yeah.
put the paper in a more reasonable place next
Hmm.
time. So so even just going through this practice of what's the worst thing that can happen, and what's the worst thing that can happen, and what's the worst thing, even if you have to do that 5 or 6 times before you get to something that okay, that's obviously not going to happen. Like, I'm not gonna allow
Right.
that.
You're not,
And
yeah, you're not going to jail.
right, right. I mean, they do this with Amelia if she's concerned about something. She doesn't want to stop to use the ladies' room before we leave for school, because if you're there past 8:35, they lock the door. And okay, what's the
Right.
worst thing that can happen? We're gonna knock on the door. Well, then you get a tardy. All right. And what's the worst thing?
And
Well, if you get too many of those, you get in trouble. I'm like, okay, from who? From Mr. Bates? Okay. What's he gonna say? He's gonna kick you out of school because you listen to your bot. It's like, we're not gonna
yeah,
let
I
that
know.
happen. And if that happens, that's school is not for us. We're gonna go somewhere else. Just
That's
like,
right.
okay.
That's right.
I mean, I think it is really just a good practice because it's ludicrous.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is. So that is my that's my new mantra, is just letting go of those limiting beliefs, uh and trying to live for me. And I I have a hard time saying that because of my, oh, well, I need to give, and give all of myself, my emotions, like physically everything. I need to give. And so it's really difficult for me to say because I feel like I'm being selfish. I mean, really.
That's
But
conditioning,
I know. And I hate it.
right?
I
But it's
just
good because
hate it.
thoughts
Ah,
grow as they are shared, and you're not the only one who thinks that.
right.
And
Yes.
getting it out of your body actually has it lose its power. It
Yes.
does, because you
Yes.
realize that someone else feels the same way, and
Yeah.
they can say, for me, I heard a quote, I can't even remember who said it now, but to give from your saucer. So you fill your cup till
Hmm.
it overflows, and you
Hmm.
give from your saucer. And when your saucer is depleted, then you fill your cup again. And then when it overflows, so you're not waiting until your cup is empty before you go do something for yourself or
Hmm.
take inventory or pay attention. There it goes.
Yeah.
Clear in my throat, ladies, get your pen. Um, we're not waiting until we're completely depleted before we sound the alarm. We are
Yeah.
filling ourselves up first, which then puts us in a posture where we can actually give, because we
Yes.
cannot, we all say it, you can't give from an empty cup, but boy, do we try.
Yes, we do. We do. And we teach that lesson
Yes, we do.
at the schools. Through a program at school, we teach that. And those are books that we read to the kids, that you can't give from an empty bucket. Our analogy is a bucket, like our that's what our metaphor is, our bucket. So you have to fill your bucket. And if you see that your friend's bucket is empty, then maybe they don't know how to fill their bucket. So you, like, push them along and you help them fill their bucket, and then they'll be able to fill up the rest. If you just give them a little, they'll be able to fill up the rest. And so yeah, I love that. And but that, again, it's a it's a conditioning to think the opposite way. So
Right,
yeah,
right. I
it's
would have been
very difficult
taught,
to keep that mindset.
I would have been taught to give the person with the empty bucket my full bucket,
Yes.
and then I'll take their empty bucket since I'm
Yes.
so good at filling things. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you are raising boys, first of all. And I'm so happy that you are in the elementary school system, but in a capacity where you actually have access to a larger portion of the student body on semi-individual basis, and
Hmm.
you have a format that is a part of your job to be in conversation and direct them to a place where they can get the answer to a question they have. I just think
Yeah.
that's so beautiful because it doesn't have the same, I can only think of the word stigma, and that's not what I mean, but the same understanding or expectation. If
Uh-huh.
someone was going to the school counselor, then they already know, oh, I'm sitting in this chair, I'm about to share something, and then I'm going to get advice, and then I'm going to be on my way. Or even with the teacher relationship, but the library, I feel like that's that super cool lady that just listens to me, and that you're doing it in such a nurturing, informed, evolved, enlightened way that you can really speak some truth at a time where that truth can stick with them.
Hmm.
And it might not be what they're hearing at home. It might not be what they're hearing in the classroom, but that's a
Right.
beautiful, beautiful opportunity. I think if
Yes.
I was going to get a job, that would be a job I would like.
I do. I really do enjoy my job. I do like that connectivity that I have with the kids, and because it's elementary school, it is such an important time for them, right? They're so malleable right now. And
Right.
I love that I get to be a part of that kind of formation of them becoming an adult and a decent human being. And it's really, it's so lovely. I love watching them, especially getting to know them from like kindergarten or TK and then all the way through the 5th grade because it, like I said, this is my children's school. So even before I started working there, I already knew all the kids.
Right. I love
I
that.
knew I knew all of them already. And so to start a job there and then just to see them on a weekly basis and get to see them grow and become these really amazing humans is I mean, it's a pretty rad thing to see. I love it.
Beautiful. I
Yeah,
love
I love it.
that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay, so here's the question that I ask everybody that I interview. Usually I
Yes.
ask it at the beginning. Sometimes I forget. But how are you saying yes to yourself in this season?
Oh, okay. Well, I kind of touched upon it already. The way I'm saying yes to myself is really letting go of limiting beliefs because I that is my normal to say, oh no, 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 I can't do that. No, it's going to be awful or it's going to be too long or I don't deserve that or whatever. So I that is how I'm saying yes to myself. And then also one other thing
Tell me, tell
from
me.
what from you is I am only available for things that delight me.
It's a good one, friend. It's a
It
good
is freaking amazing.
one. Yep.
I love that. And so that is my like letting go of limiting beliefs and only being available for things that delight me. I mean, really, I feel like they go hand in hand. I feel like a lot of this just is
Yeah.
all kind of goes hand in hand and it flows in the same direction that we all want to be, right? But that's my saying yes to myself. And so a lot of that is stuff like dealing with past relationship trauma and uh whether that be from a previous marriage or growing up in a household with parents who didn't quite have that emotional I don't know what the word, but he couldn't
Capacity,
they yes,
availability.
capacity, yes, 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 all of that. So yeah, that's my gift to myself and then also my gift to my children because if I can't be the best version of me, well then they're not going to get the best version of me. I need to be a good mother for them, and part of that is emotionally being a good parent so that they can learn how to how to be that way too. I don't want them to grow up because they're boys. The because they're boys, there's always this kind of pressure to take care of your family, right? And so I want them to understand, well, this is what you need to do to support your partner. Uh, this is what you need to do to support you. And, if I need to be able to model that behavior.
Right.
And so that to me is pretty important. And I feel like I'm doing an okay job.
I think you are.
I think I'm doing an okay job. And it's obviously it's not 100% perfect all the time, but
There's
I'm
nothing
learning.
is.
And yeah, I'm learning.
You know any perfect parents?
Oh goodness, no.
Right. I
Goodness,
think
no,
it's so
no,
funny. Why do we even if like we're all 100% certain that whatever we're doing is not perfect, and yet
oh, I
there's
know.
like not even a model for perfection. So I don't even know
No.
what we're talking about. What if, ooh, I'll do it too. But what if we just stopped saying that and not
To be the perfect
discount?
parent.
No, like just not saying it's not perfect, but da
Oh,
da da
oh,
da.
oh, yes.
Because I feel like that's a way of discounting
Yes.
our contribution. Even
Yes.
with the word choice, I was talking to my mom recently
Yes. The
about
word just.
just. Mhm. You're so
Just.
thank you for listening.
Yes.
Because it diminishes
Mhm.
what you were about to do.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that same coach that told me to receive when I went to that conference, she told me because when I would go to do a live and I would say, "Hi friends, I'm just popping on here to," she's like, "You're not just popping on, you have something to share. Your words are impactful. You own that."
Yes.
I was like, "Oh, well,
Okay.
Elens, listen up, because I've got something to say. I'm about to clear my throat. So here it comes." I mean, it's amazing what it does. Here's another practice if anyone wants to implement this in the emojis. Sometimes I'm not a big emoji person, but sometimes I I will. And I found myself using that emoji where the person just has
Yeah.
their head in their hands as if something is frustrating or terrible
Mhm.
or awful. And I committed to not using any emojis that even diminished my contribution or presence, or sometimes I will type the word ugh, but I have not used those emojis. And it was so interesting to watch on my phone because it has, the most used, and to watch
Yes.
that move from a column to column to column before it
Yep.
just wasn't even on there anymore. And
Yes.
sometimes I really want to use it. And sometimes I just take a minute and I'm intentional and decide not to. I also wanted to mention, I love that your word of the year or intention of the year is not only letting go of limiting beliefs, but only being available for what delights you. Because there's this concept that for a while after I heard it, I knew that it was big, but I didn't quite understand it. And
Mhm.
now I do, and it's that the universe hates a void. So if you take a rock out of the ocean, the wave immediately fills in that space with sand and water.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
taking away the limiting beliefs, there's a void there. So filling it with something good, something that you want to pursue, that you want to focus your
Mhm.
thoughts on, is such a great practice. And I'm so
Yes.
glad that you picked that one because it's really fun.
It is. It's very fun. It's something that I will practice a lot. this year. Well, honestly, I feel like for the rest of my life, it's something that you need to do. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. So my first delightful, like really delightful experience is me traveling. And so I have two travel trips planned
Oh, good.
for
Tell me, tell
February
me.
and April.
Oh,
So in
fun.
February, I'm going to Italy for 12 days. And then in uh, April, I'm going to Paris for 10, 11 days, something like that. Yeah.
April in Paris. It's
I know
so
it's the best.
pretty.
It's the best. I love it. But I'm like, very excited about Italy. I've not been before.
Oh, fun. Where are
So
you going?
uh, I'm going with my husband. Paris,
Fun.
I'm going by myself, but Italy, my husband and I are going. We're going to Milan and then the what is it? I don't know how to say it. Cinque
Oh, Cinque
Terre.
Terre. Cinque Terre.
Yes,
That you're going to
that
walk to the five
area.
cities. So
Yes,
fun.
so that area, and then to Florence, Lake Como,
Mm,
and then Milan. Yeah, I'm very
beautiful.
excited about it. Yeah.
Gosh, that's so fun. I'm going to Florence also, but not till May. And I'm doing
Oh,
a Normandy trip this year, which I'm so excited about. One that
oh,
I'm leading. So I was just working on getting it on the website this week, but yeah, so I'm just taking 5 women with me, and we're staying at this amazing chateau that is owned by this fabulous couple that they also have a place in Louisiana, and a place in the
oh.
French Quarter in New Orleans. So I just hung out with her when I was just there. And they have this beautiful chateau, and they are hosting us for 4 days. And we're going to Mont Saint Michel. We're going to,
Oh,
oh, I know, I'm so excited. Like that could be
oh,
it. I'd be so
how
excited.
fun.
Yeah, but
How
we're gonna go
fun.
to the landing beaches, the D-Day beaches. We're going to
Hmm.
go to, I don't know how to pronounce it. I think Cancale. It's the oyster capital of the world. And we're gonna sit on the seawall and eat oysters, and you just throw the shells back in the ocean. And I just think that's so
Oh,
fun. It's
I'm
so
so
fun.
excited for you. I'm
Yeah, so
so
I'm really
excited for
excited
you.
about that trip. Yeah, it's beautiful, and I love this opportunity to share this wonderful couple as well, because they're very involved in
Hmm.
our time there, and they are really beautiful people. So it's going to be fun.
Oh, so nice. So nice. I love that.
So
How
fun. What are
fun.
you doing in Paris?
I was just going to say, I have no concrete plans for Paris. So maybe I'll take a little day trip, or I don't know how far Normandy is. I feel
It
like it's
depends
probably
where
just
you
a
want to
couple
go.
hours.
It depends where you want to
Oh,
go.
okay.
So,
Okay.
it's a very large region. But yeah, I'll
Oh,
pass on some tips to you and
okay.
all of that goodness. And of course, I have lots of Paris trips too. My trip there
Yeah.
is September 14th to 19th. I'm really looking forward.
Oh, lovely. I would love to go back in October, and
Yes.
I would like to go back in December. My goal is to visit Paris in all seasons, and so far I've the fall is the only time I've not been. So
Okay.
I want to go for we have a fall break at school, so we're out the first week of October.
Brilliant.
Um, so I would love to go then, and then I would also like to go for the Christmas markets.
Yes. Same. Same. I'm going to be doing a
Yeah.
trip, so I will let you know because that'll be so fun.
Oh, nice. Yes. For the Christmas markets or in the
Yep,
fall?
for
Oh no,
Christmas
you're going in
markets.
September for the
I am
Christmas
going
markets.
in September, but I'm also going to do a Christmas markets trip. I just don't know if it will be this December or next December, but
Oh,
it is
okay.
it's
Okay.
on my heart, and we'll see if it's on my calendar.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes, it's so fun. Well, I love all of your travels. I love all of this internal journey as well.
Hmm.
It's it's just beautiful. And I'm so grateful for your generosity in sharing your journey, not only with us
Oh, thank
here
you.
today, but also the ways that you are showing up for yourself and showing your followers on Instagram that I think it's just so inspirational. And I really,
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I never know if I should post stuff like that on Instagram. It's one of those like, do I keep it to myself? Because I don't know why,
yes,
but
same
do I
here.
keep it to myself?
Right. I mean, I think that's a great question. Why would you keep it to yourself? Like, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Well, no, I know. I did. I shared something about myself on Instagram and I had like one hater comment, one troll person that said, well, who cares? And I was like, oh,
Gosh.
I
And
mean,
did
I,
you block them?
well, I deleted that comment. And then I thought, oh, I should not have deleted that. I should have just left it there for the world to see what, and I mean, honestly, that's just ugliness. Like, what? It's just ugliness. Why do you have to be that way? I don't understand why people have to be that way. So,
And
but I deleted it.
in comparison, how many lovely comments do you receive?
Oh, yes. It's 99.9%.
And
Seriously.
isn't it
Yeah.
amazing? Because we can be like Teflon for the good stuff and like Velcro for stuff that's mean.
Yes. 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 But thankfully I was not Velcro with that one comment.
Good,
I laughed and I
good.
thought, oh, well, that must mean the algorithm is pushing out my content to more people.
That's
That's
so
what I thought
brilliant.
immediately.
Right, right.
I
I
thought,
have,
okay, well, that's funny.
yeah, I've been really lucky also. And as we know, like attracts like, but I have had a
Hmm.
couple people that had some opinions that they are absolutely entitled to, and I'm not available for those. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have blocked two people in my life. And of course, all the shirtless Italian guys and the doctor who loves his family and God, yeah, and America or whatever. Like those guys, I
Yeah.
have very highly curated, authentically grown number of
Uh,
followers.
yes. And
It's
I
so
think it's
good.
great. Yes,
It
I think it's
is. Well,
wonderful.
tell everyone where they can follow you and write really nice things about how much they care.
Oh, yes,
Where can people
please.
follow you?
I'm on Instagram at the Kiyo Edit. It's Kiyo. That's my middle name. So the Kiyo Edit, and that's mostly where I am. I do have a YouTube, and what are the other? I don't even know. I don't post a lot on other platforms. It's just Instagram, honestly. It's that I'm trying to work on Instagram at the moment, so it's really just Instagram. Yeah.
That's perfect. Well, we will link that in the
Yeah.
show notes as well. But thank you so much for your time today, Joanie. I loved this conversation.
Oh, thank you so much, Wendy. I just so appreciate you. I love your energy and your spirit and your kind heart because you definitely are a kind human. And I appreciate that so much. I do.
Thank you. I received that. I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. As always, any links or notes mentioned can be found at phineaswrighthouse.com in the podcast section of our site or in the show notes below. And if you haven't connected with me personally, come find me on Instagram at Phineas Wrighthouse and let me know you listened to this episode. I'd love to get to know you. Thank you for sharing this time with me. I know your days are full, and I'm really grateful that you chose to spend some of your precious time right here. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any of these delightful conversations. I'll see you next week.